All right, once again, this is Joe Stevens and
Tech Rat
with the Equestrian Inquirer and Everfree Radio, and we have a wonderful guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Lancie, Discord himself. Thank you for coming here, and we have...
Laurent Malaquais. Hey, guys.
And what is it that you are doing here with, is it BronyCon, is it?
It is BronyCon. It's not only BronyCon, but it's also BronyCon the documentary, which Laurent is the for which Laurent is the director.
And tell us a little bit about that. What is it that you're trying to accomplish here?
So BronyCon, the documentary, is about a lot of stories converging here at BronyCon. So we've gone to like 8 different locations, and we've gone into the lives of different bronies that are. I don't want to reveal too much because then I want people to watch the film, but we've gone into the lives of different bronies who've had personal struggles in being a brony and the challenges that they've had to go through in order to come to the convention. And the convention is really a celebration of everything that they've had to struggle through to get here and to celebrate their own broniness.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we were big fans of Discord, of course. Now tell us a little bit about your character in the show and how you were brought into doing the documentary itself.
Well, I play the character of Discord, and I've only done a couple of them, but it seems to have hit upon a nerve.
A good nerve, a very popular nerve, it seems.
To put it mildly.
That's right. That's right. Everybody wants the naughty boy in the proceedings, and into that, Mike Brockhoff, who's the producer, just happened to come to dinner. And I was telling him about this show and the extraordinary fan base. And a couple of days later, after he looked it up, he said, "Why don't we do a documentary?"
Wonderful, wonderful.
So he brought Laurent involved, and he put together the team, and Laurent brought his people, and that's how we're all here.
That's it. We all came together, and I mean, it was amazing when we did the Kickstarter video. I mean, it was like we all felt that common sentiment that the bronies deserve a voice and they deserve to be celebrated, and we deserve to see who they are and what they represent and allow them to represent themselves rather than having other people comment on them. But we had no idea that when we did the Kickstarter, it was going to explode into what it is. I mean, my jaw is still on the ground. I mean, it's dumbfounding the amount of support we had. And people are coming up to me like all day, like, thank you so much, and can I get a photo with you? And I'm like, don't you want John? They're like, yeah, we want John. We got John. We want a photo with you. I'm like, okay, that's like, I'm just touched. I'm so amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of it had to do with that, the potential for negative press. Which, well, more than potential.
Which we got a little bit of that at the previous BronyCon, I believe.
Right, and that's when I thought, gee, this is a really great community, and sort of like John Lennon said, what's so bad about love, peace, and understanding?
Wow, a very Concordian sentiment.
There we go, and that's when I called Mike back and I said, yeah, let's do this because these people need to be able to identify themselves before they are. Or they continue to be poorly identified by the quote news people.
The quote news people. Yeah. We're quote news people too,
or at least we pretend to be.
Fair balance.
Now, when this documentary is completed and people who are not bronies go and watch this documentary, what is it that you're hoping that they are going to take away from it after viewing it?
Well, they're going to first of all figure out that it's a very diverse group, and. The other thing I think they're going to discover is that I happened to make a comment I was telling a friend of mine who's my doctor. I said, I'm going off to New York. I'm going to do this thing. And at first he was like, oh, really? What's that about? And then a few minutes later he said, it just occurred to me, where do good kids go? Where do good kids go? And I went, yeah, I think that's what we're going to discover. And for me, it was a much more diverse group yesterday than I thought it was. Even I thought it was. I don't know if you noticed that.
Even after all the conventions you've been to already.
Yeah, I mean, there were all sorts of people there, and all of them very polite, very, 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 just great. I mean, they were what my kids are like, and what I think, I'm proud to be supporting this. And once we've done our job, you have to understand that's going to be sort of it. You know, we will have worked and worked and worked, and we will have created a documentary which I think is going to be really insightful and respectful, which is what the community is, and entertaining. And then this community is, I believe, sort of on the threshold of a movement, which is necessary, a movement of people who work together and are tolerant of each other, as opposed to the vitriol that we're going through politically in this country, and so I think that that's something to support.
So the movement itself, and you being such a visible presence and part of it, if you could say one thing that you'd like to accomplish in part of contributing to that community, contributing to that movement, what would you hope to accomplish with the documentary?
Well, I think it's just what I said. I mean, it's that's what I hope to accomplish.
You hope to accomplish it.
So I think that people who watch this, so many times we got emails from people saying, is this a documentary that I can show to my parents? And by all means, it's not going to be some sort of love letter. I mean, that's not the intention. It's not a infomercial. It's not an infomercial. But it's just been. We talked a lot about in the beginning of the year. We talked a lot about how do you capture the spirit, and
The spirit of Bronydom?
That's right. The spirit of being here is really, and I've been in a lot of fan base.
Right. Big into the Trekkie movement, of course.
In the Trekkie movement. And this reminds me of the fan-based Trekkie Trek experiences where everybody got together and pitched together to make something work. And that's really, and this is just at the very beginning of it. I mean, and there were so many, last night it was a rock concert. I mean, there was a concert on last night.
It was Brony-palooza, right?
But the thing that's hilarious is that there were no lights. Now, whoever thought of a concert without, all the lights and what have you?
We had laser pony, a few lasers at now and then.
And plenty of glow sticks.
Yeah, plenty of glow sticks. But it's sort of fan oriented. Soon this will change. In 2 years from now or the next time, I'll tell you, they're going to have a lighting package up there, and there's going to be all sorts of stuff. But we're coming here just at the beginning where people are excited about their involvement in something that they think is important, and I think it's important as well. We both think it's important.
I love that nobody's cynical. I mean, it's just, you can feel that it's like, this is like someone's garage, but it's huge. You know what I mean? And
right.
Everyone's just so full of love and understanding and respect. And the thing that's really touched me is a lot of stories of people that, have been bullied even by their own parents and their communities. It's like they still love and tolerate the shit out of them.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That's exactly right. Now, I want to talk just a minute about the scope of the documentary, because I know that with the Kickstarter campaign and about how it went pretty much beyond your expectations, that you've actually gone ahead and you've increased the activities or the things that you're planning to do, the things you're planning to include in the documentary. So could you talk for a moment about what's going to be added now that the Kickstarter campaign went so far?
Well, with the original budget, we hoped to in a modest way cover the documentary, the convention only. As it began to grow and the contributions began to grow, we realized, first of all, the decision was automatic that it would all go back into the documentary. But then just think of it as being beginning to have concentric circles out. So rather than having two teams of camera teams, we had 6, rather than staying here in New Jersey, right, at the convention here in New Jersey.
I think it was wonderful. We saw everyone from the enormous camera when they had an impromptu rendition of Smile, Smile, Smile to those little tiny box cameras. Tell us about those little tiny cameras that you've got.
Around, I saw earlier as well.
Yeah, there's a new GoPro. It's called the Hero 2, and it's a full HD, and it's like this big. And so you can mount them on walls, you can go through crowds, and people are, and you can wrap them around people's costumes. People they just love them, and they're super fun to watch. And I mean,
So we're going to get like a sort of up close and personal perspective.
Kind of like a fly on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah, but it floats through everyone, so everyone gets a chance to be celebrated, included in the documentary in that way. You know, we can speed it up, we can slow it down. You know, it's all encompassing.
That sounds like a really interesting perspective for this.
Yeah, and I also used it like when we on our characters, like, you know, one in South Carolina. I stuck one actually on people's cars, and they drove to their neighborhoods with them on them. So we really get a sense of who they are and where they live and the community that they're tied into.
And I think you took it to Israel, right?
Actually, our other producer went to Israel, so no, she didn't actually take it to Israel, but we went and shot The Living Tombstone in Israel, and we got his whole world as well.
That's phenomenal.
Which is how this is expanded.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's gone worldwide.
Yeah. So now then we're going to Germany, then we're going to England, and you know we might be going to Seattle, and I mean, and then we're going to include animation, and I mean, in other words, we're going to try to that's what the increase in the contributions has done. We've just gotten a bigger thing.
You mentioned something about putting the cameras on cars. Real quick, if you'd like to, I think that's what I think a lot of people are interested in, because it's not just BronyCon, the documentary, because you are actually going outside the convention to people's homes. And what is
it's almost like Brony the documentary.
Brony the documentary. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing outside the convention beyond these international ones as well.
Well, we want to get into the lives of these particular stories that we've chosen that are coming here, and we want to see their challenges and what it means for them to be a brony in their community. And some of them have huge challenges in being a brony, and you know, they have this spirit that just won't die, and they find strength in the brony community online mainly. And this is an opportunity to see kind of all the challenges that they're facing in their world, and why they've turned to the internet basically to have their friends, because a lot of them don't really have friends outside of, you know, their online community and the meetup groups. And really it's this celebration where they come together here at BronyCon, and there's actually people here who the 4,000 people at BronyCon is like triple the size of the population of their town. I mean, it's amazing. It's like, I'm like, you realize that like the entire brony community here at BronyCon could just invade all the haters and just take over the whole town. I mean, it's just like they're on cloud nine. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can be myself.
Maybe you could film that, a bunch of us bronies descending on a small town and bashing all the haters.
Well, we don't, you know,
not bashing
don't
literally.
Bash, but
yes.
We love and
loving
tolerate.
and tolerating all the haters.
Putting stickers on their cars, right?
Yes.
I think we could go that far, right?
That would work. All right, I think we're almost out of time here, but I did have just one more question, because I do have to ask just very briefly about Tara Strog and Lauren Faust, and what was the circumstance around them joining in on the documentary? What got them motivated? What got them involved?
Well, Lauren Faust is really obvious. I mean, she created all of this. So it's out of her mind that this began. And one of the things that I personally found interesting about it is that it sort of parallels the Gene Roddenberry story, which, you know, he created a show. The show had a sort of life for 3 years and then disappeared. And then a community came in above and beyond anything that he expected. And by the way, was created by that resurgence was women driven, which was sort of completely contrary to
women made Trekkies, men
for
made
the Star Trek
bronies.
fandom, you mean?
Star Trek fandom. All of the write-ins, that was all women who did that.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Oh.
so there were a lot of parallels there.
Wow.
So the fact that, you know, Lauren had created this show, she left the show, and the show was taken over, as it were, and this has happened, is well a testimony to her creation, but it's also, she's also watching this take place. So I love that part. And Tara's involvement is obviously she's the main, you know, voice in it, and so we really wanted her to be involved.
Well, thank you very
I think this
much,
is wonderful.
John, Mr. Delancey. It was wonderful. Thank you very much for all that you're doing with
Thank
the
you for taking the
BronyCon
time to speak with
documentary.
us. This was very, very wonderful.
Great, thank you.
And once again, Joe Stevens and Tech Rat with the Everfree Radio and the Equestrian Inquirer. Thank you.
I don't want to reveal too much, because then you know I want people to watch the film, but we've gone into the lives of different bronies who've had personal struggles in being a brony and the challenges that they've had to go through in order to come to the convention. And the convention is really a celebration of everything that they've had to struggle through to get here and to celebrate their own broniness.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we were big fans of Discord, of course. Now tell us a little bit about your character in the show and how you were brought into doing the documentary itself.
Well, I play the character of Discord. And I've only done a couple of them, but it seems to have hit upon a nerve.
A good nerve, a very popular nerve, it seems.
To put it mildly.
That's
I
right.
believe.
That's right. That's right. Everybody wants the naughty boy in the proceedings, and into that, Mike Brockhoff, who's the producer, just happened to come to dinner, and I was telling him about this show and the extraordinary fan base, and a couple of days later, after he looked it up, he said, "Why don't we do a documentary?"
Wonderful, wonderful.
So he brought Laurent involved, and he put together the team, and Laurent brought his people, and
All right, once again, this is Joe Stevens and
Tech Rat.
with the Equestrian Inquirer and Everfree Radio, and we have a wonderful guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Delancey, Discord himself. Thank you for coming here, and we have...
Laurent Malaquais. Hey, guys.
And what is it that you are two are doing here with, is it BronyCon, is it?
it is BronyCon. It's not only BronyCon, but it's also BronyCon the documentary, which Laurent is for which Laurent is the director.
And tell us a little bit about that. What is it that we are trying to accomplish here?
So BronyCon, the documentary, is about a lot of stories converging here at BronyCon. So we've gone to like 8 different locations, and we've gone into the lives of different bronies that are